That's Twisted.
This is Mark McNease with my co-host Rick Rose, and you're listening to another edition of The Twist. Welcome, everybody, to the Halloween edition of The Twist podcast. It's my favorite holiday, Rick. Part of it's because it's secular. There's no religious stuff. You don't have to buy anybody gifts for Halloween unless you're into, like, on the Food Channel or something like that. And my birthday was on the 28th, so I'm sort of a Halloween baby. I've always connected the two. I turned 60. Woo-wee! My 50s were awesome. My 60s are going to be just as good. And then I'm going to fall apart.
You set the trend, though, don't you? You set the trend. You're like always a decade before me. I love it.
Well, I'm 5 years older than you.
I know. I'm laughing, too. No, more than that. Come on.
Rick, I'm not. I'm only 5 years older than you.
Oh, maybe 6 or 7.
Anyways.
6.5, but I'm just laughing, folks, because when we were practicing the show, we usually warm our voices up and check levels and things. And Mark said, Happy Halloween.
We do tongue twisters.
Southern of you. Yes, we tongue twists, don't we?
So anyways, it is Halloween. Our friend Jerry's here from the city.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. We're going to go to Lambertville, my favorite place. In my books, all my characters live in Lambertville now. It's really coincidental. But I did a reading there the other 2 nights ago, the night before last, at the Sotheby's Real Estate Inn. It was fabulous. So many nice people, and they were all like trying to guess which restaurants I had fictionalized in my book.
Oh, that was fun.
Black Cat, White Paws. I sold a bunch of paperbacks. Like, wow, I actually made money on these. And but Halloween's it's like the Village Halloween parade. It's like a big deal, and we've never gone to Lambertville for Halloween, but we're going tonight. We're going to eat at Deanna's, my favorite. Give shout out to Deanna's restaurant, and then we're going to check out the madness.
That sounds fun. What am I doing? Well, I wish I was there, because the way you've been talking about this for weeks on the show, on our podcast, sounds so cool. But they are doing in Madison and Milwaukee had the longest running Rocky Horror stage shows for a long time at 2 little theaters here. Well, the brand new theater house, which I talked about last week, Flick's Brew House, they're having that original floor show people in. So they're doing a Rocky Horror show at 9:30. So I'm going to go to my friend Sky's house and hang with kids until then, and some other friends and their kids, and then head over to the theater all by myself and watch the stage show. Because, I directed Rocky Horror in college, so the actual play, the play version of it. So I'm excited to see it tonight. Now, I will tell you, this is interesting, Mark, the way we think today, and I know we're going to talk about it later on the show, on the podcast, but my friend that I invited to come was thinking about it, and then she texted me and said, Rick, I'm just afraid there's going to be a shoot up there. How weird.
Oh, wow. That's really sad.
Yeah, and then my mind immediately imagined the headline, Madison, Wisconsin, brand new theater. Isn't that sad we think that way?
Oh, yeah, it's horrible. And the other day, before we launch into stuff, I read that there was a school, like 2 days ago, there was a student was murdered, like shot to death by another student, and the classes resumed. Like 2 hours later, they went back to class. It's like, okay, I guess this is just life in America, Second Amendment, absolute right, shoot anybody, stand your ground, let's go back to school. It's like our culture is really failing. It's failing.
It is, and we're so desensitized, and let me tell you, and I want to shout out to memory of a dear friend this week. I lost a friend this week. Her name is Chelsea. She struggled with a stroke at 27 years old, and
I didn't know that. I didn't know she had a stroke.
She did. She had a stroke in about 14 months, trying to deal with her stroke anyway. So I'm going to miss her dearly. But so I've been a little depressed. And another friend of mine, Mike, lost a friend. She and her husband were driving, and a 30-foot tree literally fell on their car, Mark.
Oh my God!
Instantly. Yeah, her best friend, his best friend, and left a husband on a ventilator who doesn't even know she's deceased. I don't want to get into all the details, but we were all sitting here before we went to a movie last night and depressed, and we realized those circumstances are hard enough, but what's underlying it is when you have a shooting at a Jewish synagogue and you have a president talking about supreme nationalism and all this stuff we just referenced earlier. It's just layers of sadness, and it's a different world.
Yes, it is. And I recommitted myself to refusing to be trolled by this man.
Amen.
He's a troll. He's a daily, constant troll. That even yesterday when I got like really pissed off about, like, oh great, he's going to start crossing out the 14th Amendment and there's things in the Constitution and just right over him so his base gets out and votes. I can't stand him. I think he's a joke, like a really, really bad, sick, evil, toxic joke of a president. And he's a troll. He does all this shit deliberately. He wants his people out because he knows he's going to lose the House. And it's racist. Come on, people, stop trying to pretend it's not racist. And I said in my Facebook post, first of all, it's going to be challenged in court. I don't think he's going to get away with it. Although with the Republican Supreme Court, which is now how I refer to them, I don't care what anybody thinks. We now have because it's a 5-seat majority, we have a Republican Supreme Court. So they might let him get away with this shit. But you better be asking every single white parent, every single white baby in this country to prove their citizenship. Because that's what it's about. It's not about white people. If you're a white evangelical, you have nothing to fear. That's why they don't fear. That's why they don't care what he does. Because they have nothing to fear. But here we are being trolled by this motherfucker, and I'm not going to do it.
And I'm going to agree with you because that's what we discussed the outcome of our conversation last night before we went to see this movie, which we'll talk about later. The Hate You Give. I want to talk about that movie later. And I know you have a powerful quote that relates to that, and we always end our show with a quote. But we decided to. I agree with you. None of this shit happens, and so let's not go there. But like he talks about Korea, and that was a year ago, and what's come of it. So moving on.
Move on, please, immediately.
Big old.
Because I have fun stuff to talk about. We were going to redirect the I guess we can't help it. It's a part of the world.
It's just who we are. Yes.
Now, my review, because we're now news reviews and opinion with a twist. By the way, we get more listens on SoundCloud than we do on Libsyn. I mean, it's fascinating. Oh, wow. We're getting 50+ listens every week on SoundCloud.
Oh, that's good. Well, hello.
I'm glad we're doing it. And I give up on YouTube. They deleted my other channel because it wasn't with a Gmail. I don't know, but screw YouTube. It was only audio anyways. Fuck them. This is an explicit podcast this week. I can't help it. My husband.
So what are you reviewing?
I'm reviewing the Red Caboose Motel in Ronks. It's called Ronks, Pennsylvania. It's right near Lancaster. Like all these little towns run together. But my husband Frank and I, we've been doing this for years. Where every few months one of us will take the other one. We'll say, make sure you're free. It used to be the weekends, but I work weekends now. So make sure you're free these 2 nights in October. I'm going to take you somewhere, and then the other one doesn't know where we're going. It's a surprise trip. So Frank took me on a surprise trip, and we went to the Red Caboose Motel in Ronks, Pennsylvania. It was so much fun, Rick. It's like a rail yard, not it's
nice,
but there's no real tracks there. But every motel room is a caboose. There are 30+ cabooses on the property, and every one is a motel room. So you stay in a caboose. It was really fun. And the first one they put us in, we were supposed to be in, was really small. And fortunately, because God works in mysterious ways, I'm getting back into God now, but that's a long story. Because what else am I going to turn to in these times? But the heater didn't work, right? So we get into a caboose with no heater. It's cold.
My God.
So they had to give us another one. And they gave us this family one that had 2 beds. We sleep in the same bed, but it had 2 beds and 2 bunk beds for kids. It was really nice, except for the horse flies. There was flies, and Frank was like, why are there all these flies? It's because they're horse flies, because it's Amish country. It's horse country. There are horses and buggies everywhere.
Wow, that was cool.
Right, and I do want to shout out to the housekeeper. She was fun the next day. She said she was talking to me and about cleaning the room when we were going out to lunch or whatever. And I told her that they gave us a room with 2 beds, and she goes, "Don't you guys sleep in the same bed?" And I said, "Oh yeah." And she said, "I love your shirt." It was a Janis Joplin t-shirt. So, anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about it because I don't want to just say go to this place and make people look for it. It all started with a dare. Donald Denlinger, founder and president of whatever, had just placed a half-hearted bid on 19 25-ton N5 cabooses being sold as surplus from the Pennsylvania Railroad in the summer of 1969. Boy, Woodstock, it so ties in. 6 months later, he couldn't move them, right? He figured out he couldn't actually move all these cabooses, so he turned them into motel rooms. And it's been going ever since then. They have new owners, I think, in 2016. But you got to go there, and they got a fun restaurant that is in a caboose. The people are super nice. And there's a lot of fun stuff to do. It's Amish country. Lancaster is, like everywhere you go, you see Amish houses with no electricity. And so this elderly Amish gentleman gives horse and buggy rides. So we took a buggy ride with him.
I've never heard of that. And I've been to Amish country a lot in different parts.
Yeah, it wasn't very long because it was the end of the day. They had different tours at like an hour, 25 minutes. So we took the short one because it was the end of his shift, I guess. But I really liked him. He was so nice. And he referred to them as English, which they call each other English, not Amish or Amish. And he told us so much stuff. Like they stopped voting a while back because politics became so corrupt, which I thought, wow, that's awesome. And they have no internet. They don't even read newspapers. They're a completely self-contained community. I respect that. I think they know who the president is, but they totally are not, they live in this world, but they're not invested in it, which I thought was awesome. And you can tell the Amish houses because they're dark at night. They don't have lights, no electricity, and there's buggies everywhere. It was just so nice. And we took a ride on this little train. It goes back and forth, not very long, but it's like a tourist thing, and you ride up this way and you come back that way. We went to a smorgasbord, maple. Anyways, it's a big smorgasbord in the area, and it's huge.
I love that word, smorgasbord. I haven't heard that in years.
I want to say Shady Maple, but it was
shady.
It was like not Shady Farm, Shady Brook, Shady Maple. Anyways, it's a huge thing around there, and like we went there, and it was packed, and it's massive. And this little kid eating at the table next to us vomited on the table while we were having dinner. He just leaned forward and he went, blah, and all this stuff came out.
Oh my God.
But we had such a great time. So if you're in that area, and it's a very religious area. Even the people who started the Red Caboose Motel, when you read the website, they're very into God, and that's fine. But just be cognizant of that. If you have an issue with that, it might not be the place for you. Nobody pushes anything on you. It's just really, you can tell by your surroundings that this is a community of faith. So go there.
It's called Shady Maple, Mark. I did look it up. It's in East Earl, Pennsylvania. You're welcome.
Right. Now I'm going to give the address and phone number, and then we'll move on. But if you want a fun thing to do, if you're like me and you don't need this 5-star hotel crap, and you just like getting out there with the people and having a good time, this is definitely a place for you. It's 312 Paradise Lane in Ronks. That's Ronks, Pennsylvania. Give them a call at 717-687-5000 or 888-687-5005. Tell them the Twist Podcast sent you. And even at the bottom of that, it says, "In God we trust." So, loved it.
Or just Google it. Just Google it, Mark.
Red Caboose Motel.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I want to point out, like you just sold me on it. I would love it if I lived closer to the East Coast, but if you're in the Midwest, there's a great Amish community. You say Amish, I say Amish.
I say Amish. Community. I say Amish. Frank says Amish, and they say English. So it's
I just heard you say Amish.
I know because Amish. I was channeling somebody else.
In Cashton, Wisconsin, over near the La Crosse area, the Mississippi River, there's a great area there too to experience the handicraft work. Yeah, well, the Dells is there too, but just over in the Cashton areas, that also in the Delta region of Mississippi, your homeland, if you will, pulling out that southern you again. There's a great hotel like that in the Delta region with great, the home of the blues music and all that. But they're not cabooses, Mark, but they're trailer homes, like little trailer things.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
trailer class.
That's cool.
A new word, trailer class.
Trailer
class instead of trash. I don't like trailer trash. I don't like calling people trash at all. I hate the term white trash. I won't use it.
No, I don't like it either. Speaking of which, we're talking about tourism stuff, it's dear to me in Wisconsin because I've worked on this tourism show that's been around 31 years called Discover Wisconsin, the longest tourism show based on any state. But Nebraska, did you see this? Stephen Coben did a piece on it this week. They launched their new state motto about a week and a half ago. Do you know what it is?
The place you don't want to be, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it's
Nebraska.
Nothing to do here. Yeah, pretty. It's Nebraska. Honestly, it's not for everyone.
Right. No, I know they're being ironic and stuff. It's fun. I like it.
Well, And I love anything. I call it bubbler talk. Well, bubbler is a water fountain, but in Wisconsin we call them bubblers. It's like that water cooler talk, where you're standing around the water fountain or the water cooler and you talk about things. And so they got all this other press because of it. I'm going to talk about Colorado. I just got back. Shout out to Marissa and Jamie White, Mrs. and Mrs. White. I was honored to officiate at their wedding in Fort Collins. They're two of my friends that I worked with down in Shreveport, and they invited me out there. And it was great. Fort Collins is a wonderful place. People love Colorado. Of course, Denver, Estes Park, all that wonderful stuff. But if you get a chance, go into Fort Collins. Couple things. It is home to a lot of breweries, microbreweries, specifically New Belgium Brewery, which is one of the top microbreweries in the country. Also, Horsetooth, which is their main mountain area. And there's a big reserve. And you could just literally from where my friends lived, which is kind of, suburbia of the city, if you will, you could be up on top of Horsetooth in about 5 to 10 minutes and have a beautiful view of the city. I did post one on our Instagram page. And Mark taught me if I use Instagram, I have to use hashtags, folks. So I've been hashtagging.
Well, it actually does get people to see it. The stuff that's. I mean, I don't like really social media. I think it's all. I can't wait till it's gone. Yeah. I probably won't live that long. But no, I mean the hashtags help people see it because I'll put hashtag LGBT traveler and there's like a 1.5 million posts on there with that hashtag, so people do see them, and some of them, like 1 out of 50, follows us.
No, it's cool. Yeah, so I did. I hashtag that Colorado, Fort Collins, etc. It's also an old town. I love cities that have the new town, the new downtown, which Fort Collins has a beautiful one. They also have Old Town. And of any old town I've been in a long time, Mark, this whole town is really, really cool. Great stores. And you know how like cities do different things, like the cows were the original ones, I think, in Chicago. And then we just did the Bucky Badgers, that artists paint them. They're around the city. Then they auction them off, and you know what I'm talking about, right?
I'll say I do.
Oh, you do.
Like Bucky Badgers?
Yeah, well, we do Badgers.
Is that like Chuck E. Cheese's?
Right? Oh, Mark. It's a mascot for the UW team, but they're these big public things, and people paint them, and they're all around the community, and you can go and take pictures of them or find them and geocache them and whatever. But they do pianos there in Fort Collins, and it's really cool. So they're like all throughout the city, inside and outside different buildings. They have these beautifully painted pianos, and they're for people are encouraged to sit down and play piano. You or I or whoever's visiting Fort Collins.
Oh, yes, I like that. Now, are they motel rooms also?
No, you can't stay in them, so don't even try. Don't even think it, Mark. But bicycling culture is huge there. Every road has its own bicycling lane. It's only one of 5 in the entire nation that's designated as a platinum-level bike-friendly city. One of the top 5 in the country for bicycling. So grab your bike, head out to Fort Collins. Really cool little city. It's it's a special find. I went out for the wedding and ended up really enjoying it. I also like to forecast the future. I want to just point out if you're in a mood to go to Mexico before the big wall goes up or whatever, just had to say it. But if
you want to fly over it, I think.
You can fly over the wall.
Yeah, white people can just fly over it.
The monarch butterflies are flying over it. That's what I want to mention. The butterflies.
I want to stop them.
The butterflies start here in the United States. As a matter of fact, huge. They were huge in Madison this year in July. And Obrick Gardens, which is a local gardens here, has a blooming butterfly exhibit. And I saw a lot of these monarchs meet up and start their journey. Well, now they're going into Mexico, and there's just 2 hours west of Mexico City. There's 3 or 4 different cities that do this, where you can go down starting in November. So it's a little forecast starting tomorrow, folks, all the way into February to see this incredible. It's the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve. It's spread out through all these cities, and you go and you see the monarch butterflies that arrive down there starting tomorrow and usually stay until, like I said, February. Great little thing to think about doing. They make these monarchs, Mark, they fly 2,500 plus miles to get south of the border. Isn't that crazy?
It's awesome. And there's a butterfly museum in Key West, and I just remember the monarchs there.
Oh, that must be their halfway point.
I don't really know, but I know they're beautiful creatures. I hope we don't exterminate them, because human beings I just read that have basically eliminated 60% of the animal population on the planet.
Gosh, that's crazy. Are you serious?
No, it's real. It's our human. We didn't eat them, but our presence on the planet has caused the extinction of 60% of the other animals.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, if you're on Instagram, hop over to the Into the Outdoors page too, which is the TV show you and I created. We always have to work that out. Up for an Emmy Award, I think this week, Mark. We find out if we want.
Right, and you're going to be coming on One Thing or Another podcast, which is an immediate success. To talk, cool. but not to do what we do on the Twist. You're going to be there as a producer, creative dynamo, talking about that, the Discover Wisconsin and all that stuff. I can't wait in December.
Well, hop onto that page. We do a hashtag Wild About Wildlife that Mark and I kicked off there.
Oh, I came up with that too.
You did, and we hashtag that term. But what's really cool is what I've been doing now is inspired by Nebraska. I was curious what their state animal was. Like, hey, I'd go there to look at their state animal. But I'm doing a tour of the United States and featuring the state animal of each state. And it's tracking. You know, you never know what people want to follow on Instagram, but people want to learn about that. So
right, and you can text me my royalty. I don't remember what the percentage is.
Oh, geez. I still owe you $450 or something. I'm worried. What? I'm just saying.
In case your accounts payable is listening.
In case they're listening. Here's the reason I say, because Mark, folks, Mark and I don't have the good fortune or pleasure to see each other on a daily basis. God forbid, it would be a dangerous world if we did. And I do miss you dearly on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But on Wednesdays, our chance to get together. So I just sometimes talk about personal things openly. Not? Well, we're all friends, all 52 of us.
Yes. Now, are we ready for the news?
Well, I want to talk about coffee real quick.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
coffee.
Yeah, okay. Oh, ding, ding.
No, that's our what do you call them? Sting. That's our sting.
That's our sting. Ding. Our stinger. A stinger. Yeah.
Coffee. Talk to me.
Remember, how was Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to talk about coffee. I picked 3 favorites for the winter season to get me through winter. I want to just highlight them briefly. But I do want to say, because you love when I do this, Oreo's coming out with their new flavor. Oreo always launching these new stupid pumpkin spice and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Peppermint bark Oreos. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh my God, no.
That little boy at the smorgasbord, really sick.
Yeah, throwing up on the table. I felt horrible for the old lady who had to clean it up. Like the lady who worked there, she comes up with her rags and
clean it up.
Oh, because they're customers. They said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry," and then they left.
They did not.
They did. They left.
Oh my gosh. Well, I also read that Oreo is going to create the biggest stuffed Oreo they've ever created yet. It's the double, triple, third, fourth time stuffed, whatever. Now they're going to create one that's even more stuffed. Anyway, my coffee choices. The first one, number 1 for the winter, is Rhino Coffee. I mean, you can order it online, but it's a small coffee house started in there's 2 of them down in Shreveport, Louisiana. Shout out to my friend Andrew Crawford for starting it back around 2012. And just great coffee, just local coffee. Check it out. The other one is shout out to my cousin Wendy from Albuquerque. She introduced me to a New Mexican coffee called Pinon Coffee. It's got the little thing over the end. Yeah. They began with a 15-pound roaster in the bed of a red Chevy pickup truck back in 1952. They do flavored coffees that articulate the culture of that state. And around this time of year, they do a wonderful coffee that's symbolic of that cinnamon cookie that they make.
Biscotti, yeah, something
Biscochito or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's a Mexican spice chocolate little thing. Their coffee's great, and it has like the yellow and red colors of the state on it. It's really great. And the other coffee I want to highlight is a wonderful coffee company based out of Oregon. I've experienced them in Idaho. Gosh darn, if they didn't have it in Colorado, they had it, and it was awesome. It's a company called Mark, Dunn Bros, B-R-O-S. Do you say bros or brothers?
Bros.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's really good. It's a little Dutch symbol. They give a lot of money back into the communities. But what they do differently about this company, and you can buy it online and have it sent to you. I say Dunn Bros, but it's really Dutch Bros.
Well, Dutch Brothers, if it's a brand, like if it's a coffee brand, you would say Dutch Brothers. You would not say Bros. Yeah. Bros is like
Warner Brothers.
Moe's for bros and stuff like that.
Yeah. This is Dutch Brothers for the pros because it's a white coffee. It's awesome. Have you ever had white coffee? Do you know what I'm talking about?
You're doing something here, Rick. You're talking Mexican stuff and you're talking white stuff. You're up to something.
No, really, this is not a setup. These are my legit choices. Have you ever had white coffee?
I don't know. It depends on, what that means.
What it means is people think the coffee itself comes out white. It's a little lighter, but it's not. But the beans for this specialty coffee are roasted at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Most coffee beans are roasted at like 450. Okay. So this is a slower roast, and therefore they must be ground using specialized commercial grinders. You can't just necessarily grind them at home because the beans stay a little harder. But when you get the coffee out of them, it's a pale beige color, and it is more flavorful, more nutty, and really one of my picks. This was not a setup.
Okay, no, I would definitely try that. What I will never have again is the cold brew. It's horrible. It tastes awful. Like, stop it.
Bittery, right?
Yeah, bittery. Are we ready for the news?
Yeah, I'm not into it. But anyway, yes.
Well, I'll do it. I can do it. You don't have to say anything.
No, I'm not into the coffee. I'm saying I'm not into that coffee.
Okay. So, now I think like I do my headlines real quick and you do yours. That's probably better than trying to go back and forth.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been doing.
Yeah,
for the last 3 weeks.
I forget. Mark. I'm 60. I forget these things.
Okay, you go and I'll laugh.
Frankenstein, the book by Mary Shelley, is 200 years old.
Nice.
And wow, what an influence that's been culturally and in literature and everything.
Art.
And also psychologically, like there's all these Frankenstein metaphors.
Oh yeah.
Look what they have. Look what they put into our White House. There was one fun video because I was having not a great day, and I saw this dog scams McDonald's customers out of burgers by pretending to be a stray. It was a video of this lady's dog at a McDonald's, and it went up to the takeout window and acted like it didn't have a home.
Oh my, that's
so
hilarious.
People would feed it.
I love it.
Bohemian Rhapsody movie premiere crashed by HIV protesters. Now, Frank and I had wanted to see this because who doesn't? I love Freddie Mercury, but I do know that he had sort of not tortured, but his life wasn't great because he was in the closet and all this crap. But the movie's getting bad reviews, and one of the reasons I think is because I had read an article saying that the band was involved in the making of the movie, and of course they want to paint a particular picture. They want it to be about the band and not Freddie. So we're passing on that. Maybe on Netflix I'll watch it.
It opens November 2nd.
I know. I would think from all the reviews that it's open. It's not open yet. More than fear, Brazil's LGBT community dreads the looming Bolsonaro president. See, he did win. It's funny, not funny, because it's like America going from Barack Obama for 8 years, hope and change and progress, inclusion, to what we have now. And in Brazil, they had elected a progressive candidate 4 times, and now they went like the other extreme. He's like the Brazilian Trump, only in my mind, he's worse because he is an evangelical. Donald Trump is not a Christian. I have a sister who thinks he is because he had a bunch of preachers putting hands on him. If he's a Christian, I'm the Pope. I mean, Trump is whatever suits him, and furthers his career. He's not a Christian. Give me a damn break. Because if he is, I would not be one in 10,000 lifetimes. But anyways, this guy in Brazil is an evangelical, and he said horrible things about gay people. So let's keep our thoughts and prayers with our siblings in Brazil.
Amen. Amen.
Gay fathers going it alone. That's a new trend. That was in the New York Times. And it's funny. It started out with this single man with a baby in the park, Central Park, and some lady said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're giving your wife a break." It's heteronormativity, and it happens constantly. People often think that Frank and I are not. They don't know we're a couple till we tell them, because they just assume we're not a couple.
It's not intentional, though.
No. But the single guys are getting the babies now. Did I gabies? I said that. Oh,
the gabies.
Now I did not know.
Hashtag Gaby, but go ahead. I'm learning.
I did not know that there was this long-running beef between 50 Cent and Ja Rule. I had no idea. I didn't even know Ja Rule was still. I knew he was alive, but I didn't know he was still performing. Why? And but anyways, 50 Cent bought out the first, I think it's 3 rows of a Ja Rule concert just so he could leave the seats empty.
Oh my God, that's terrible. That's worse than the Nicki Minaj fight with Cardi B. That's terrible. I love it. Well, they probably didn't cost much.
No, they were like $15 a piece. So it's it was funny because the headline was the headline was something about Ja Rule investing, part of his. He's behind vitamin water. My God, man, that man's rich. 50 Cent. You think he's out of the picture, but he's making all kinds of shit like Dr. Dre.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
The headline for it said what?
Oh, the headline was about him, investing in part of his fortune. It's like he spent $3,000. Give me a break.
That was so funny.
There was, speaking of cultural stuff, Post Malone is catchy. His songs are catchy. Like, I loved Rock Star, do like a rock star. But he's really horrible. He's awful. He's completely steals hip hop. And he's a 23-year-old, but there was this hilarious review, and it was scathing in the Washington Post. I didn't print it out, but if you see it, you got to read it, because he just like obliterates Post Malone, but he does it in a really funny way. So
I actually saw Post Malone live this year at Summerfest in Milwaukee, and he was horrible. Just awful.
Well, and then when you see him, I think the guy's got alcohol and drug problems or something. He was on the American Music Awards, wherever the hell he was. He when Tracy Ellis Ross American Music Awards, or the People's Choice, whatever it was. But he looked like he needed to be in a hospital immediately. He just really
skinny little runt. Yeah.
On the tattoos, but anyways, I have tattoos, so I'm not down on them. But he's got them all over his face.
You're a 60-year-old man with tattoos. Oh, geez.
I got them when I was 40. Let's move on. Azerbaijan grants the world's first visa for a robot. Did you see that?
No, that's awesome.
The A1 humanoid, Sophia, that's its name, has been making a worldwide tour on behalf of her creator, Hanson Robotics of Hong Kong, and made an unexpected stop to the Caucasus this week. The stop meant granting the world's first ever visa to a robot.
Hong Kong. That's how you said Hong Kong.
Here's the question. Did the robot have its citizenship papers? Could it prove it was a citizen?
I want to move to Bastarchan or whatever it's called. I want to go there.
I'm almost done. The simplest way to drastically improve your life, more sleep, the New York Times. It's so funny, the more sleep, less sleep, no calories, all calories. But yeah, I don't get enough sleep. It's just interrupted.
It's overrated to me. Everybody wants sleep. I don't get it. You know me. I don't like to sleep.
Well, because we don't want to we want to get out of the world for a little bit.
I guess that's it.
A couple more that are really, I got two more here. And then my quote, but I guess I'll do my quote and then you do whatever you do at the end. Stolen colon found in vacant home in Kansas City. The police say. Yeah, it's funny. It's clickbait. You're like, who stole a colon? It was a giant balloon colon.
Oh, geez, you got me. It worked on me.
Yeah, it was an intestinal model that had been recovered anyways. I don't think it was a roadside balloon, but it was a giant inflatable colon, probably for colon cancer awareness or something, and somebody stole it. But the headline was like, oh my God, they found somebody stolen colon. My last thing before the quote is River Phoenix died 25 years ago. Now, Halloween. And I remember that. I had just moved to New York. And I think it was my first year there because we were living over in Chelsea. He died from a drug overdose at the Viper Room, which was a club partly owned by Johnny Depp. I don't know if it still is. I don't know if it's still there.
And that was right up the street from my house, and I was living there 25 years ago because I took you to the airport. Remember it?
Yeah, and he was considered and still is like what a massive talent he was and would have been. I mean, what a loss. He was only like 23 or 25, something like that.
Wow.
But I just can't imagine he would have been like his generation's Philip Seymour Hoffman, who also died of a drug overdose. So it's just sad, and he was so young, and he left us with Joaquin.
Yeah, who's also very talented.
He's also very talented. I'm not knocking Joaquin, but
don't knock Joaquin. I love his movies. Hey, just of note, I can hear you shuffling papers now because your microphone must be super good or whatever you added to your microphone. Oh my God, I can hear everything now.
Okay, go on.
No, that's just, now you're going to take that personally. It was not a criticism.
No, but it makes me sound like unprofessional or something.
No, it's not. It makes you sound like Dan Rather. That's how we used to deliver the news.
Right, with papers. Now, I have, here's my quote, and it's a serious thing. So, it's like that, some sound effect. We go into serious mode. We were talking before we started that it's a trend now. It's been a trend, actually been going on forever, but with cell phones and everything, we're aware of it, just like other things. Like the murders of black men on the street by the authorities has been going on for forever. In this country, but now we're aware of it because people take pictures and video. And the thing now, all you got to do is pay attention to the news, the online news, and Every week, there's somebody calling the cops because there's a black person in their dorm, and it turns out that this black person is a student at the same college. There was a lady who confronted this black man in her apartment building and demanded to know why he was there, and he lives there. That's why. And of course, we had that police officer who was fired, and hopefully she'll be spending some significant amount of time in prison. She went into the wrong apartment, which was directly above hers, and killed a black man who lived there. And then she said she was confused. No, I'm sorry. You would have to be like staggeringly drunk not to know that you're going into the wrong apartment. How would you get in there anyways? But the thing now is to call the cops. The lady did it the other day on a 12-year-old black kid and his mother in a store and they showed the video. They went and got the videotape, and his backpack brushed this woman's backside. And so she insisted that he had groped her, and she called the police on a 12-year-old kid, black kid, and she was, of course, was white. But it happens all the time, and I'm so tired and over white people, not all of us, but the white people I know who insist that none of this is racist or racial. A lot of them are honestly Trump supporters. They insist that Donald Trump is not signaling to a racist white nationalist base with much of what he does, and because they can't look in the mirror and say, this is part of me. This is a part of me that I don't want in me anymore. Which is something I've done because I've made racial jokes, and it's not okay. Asians and whatever. But anyways, there's a lot of racism in this country, and it's deep and it's pervasive. And I was reading this a column about white people using 911 basically to exert their authority over black bodies. And here's my quote, and then you can take over. It's a quote: "By using the police as a customer service hotline for their encounters with black people, white people are engaging in a vindictive paternalism that they believe gives them the power to punish blacks for, quote, bad behavior. By calling the police in non-emergency situations, white people are not merely being petty, they are invoking the presence and threat of the state, whose law enforcement agencies over-arrest, overcharge, and over-execute black bodies. Encounters often begin with a black person being stopped by police for a nonviolent or victimless act, like selling CDs, Alton Sterling, or Lucy cigarettes, Eric Garner, without a permit, and they often end with a black person killed." So, folks, if you can't see what you're doing, I can see it, and the rest of us can see it. That's my quote.
No, that's powerful. And I want to bring up, I mentioned it earlier, I went to see The Hate U Give last night. This is a sleeper little movie that shouldn't be overlooked. Have you heard of it, Mark?
No, but tell me.
So why we need to know about it, it's very poignant in so many ways. But The Hate U Give was a book written by a 30-year-old author. Her name is Angie Thomas. She lives in Jackson, Mississippi. Pertinent to you and I. She's got a new book coming out called On the Come Up in 2019. But The Hate U Give was a book she wrote, won a lot of Goodreads awards for it, etc. It was adapted into a screenplay. Now, here's the thing. Audrey Wells wrote it into a screenplay, and that's the movie I went to see last night. Well, Audrey Wells, who also wrote Under the Tuscan Sky, Shall We Dance, beautiful movies, The Truth About Cats and Dogs, another poignant movie. She took this book about The Hate U Give, which is exactly about the issues you're talking about. Like, in a nutshell, you can say it's about Black Lives Matter. And it's It's the story of a young woman that grows up in a black community, in the hood, if you will, and goes to a white school, and about those relationships. And the movie opens with a shooting, and she becomes a witness to it. And it really digs into these issues. But it's got like 97% favor on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a wonderful movie. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes, but you would never feel it. It goes so fast. You feel like you're in that world. The language that Audrey used is so based on probably the original text, and it's amazing. Well, here's why it's poignant to me. Audrey Wells died at 58 years old of cancer one day before this movie opened nationally. And so just a couple weeks ago. In her honor, and in honor, to recognize what really is going on in our country, I really encourage people to go see this movie. It's called The Hate U Give. Lot of tragedy, be ready, but a lot of hope at the end. And I love a good movie, Mark, that spreads hope at the end.
Yeah, me too.
So Angie Thomas is the source material, wonderful book, and made it into a wonderful movie. But go check it out. My news items are brief. In honor of Halloween, and if you're out traveling, check out this place called Lake Vistonida. It's become a temporary spider paradise.
Wow.
And an acrophobe's nightmare. Yeah, I forget what it is, but it's massive spider webs all over this Greek island. You have to go to this Greek island. But it's amazing. Look it up. Images on the internet. Just really, really scary and spooky. While you're on the internet, this was a cool story. You mentioned the dog and things, but this husband and wife decided to take their baby out and see all 50 states. They're not American. I think they're Australian or something. But they took the baby. She has now completed a tour of all 50 states after an epic, adorable journey. It's all been highlighted with photos documenting her journey, and they have her in front of different state signs and state things. And I think she's probably not even a year old, or maybe 2 years old. It's kind of cute. Just type in baby 50 states, and you'll see some incredibly cute images of this little girl. Her name is Harper. Her parents are Cindy Lim and Tristan Yates. And she's 6 months old.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
She's just shy of 6 months old. Also in New Jersey, do you know where the intersection of Route 47 and 40 in Gloucester County is?
No.
Well, Franklin Township Police caught this guy who was dumping dirty diapers on its roadways over the past year. Yeah, gross. William Friedman, 68 years old, was spotted in a box truck dropping a load of soiled diapers on that road near Route 47 and 40. At least 3 times a week, he would go out and do it until he was finally caught by the Franklin Township Police.
Wow.
What the hell is that about?
I don't know if they find him or something.
I don't know. It's weird. State of Maine, if you move there, you heard this story, right? It's awesome. If you have a college degree and you move to the state of Maine because of the workforce shortage, they will pay back your student loans. So,
my God, I'm going. Well, I don't have any student loans, but
it comes off in your taxes. So let's say you owe $3,800 at the end of the year, and you're
okay.
38,000. 3,800. Let's say you owe. Okay. You'll only end up paying, if on your student loans, your payment that year was $1,800, they'll give that back in a tax credit. So you'd only own $1,000. Cool.
I like that. That's really cool.
It's a good way to recruit. Here's another one, last one here. According to a recent survey, this is sad about where we're headed in America. 7% of Americans believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's tragic, but...
Oh my God, that's shocking. The center of U.S. dairy.
I accidentally bought chocolate almond milk because we're going vegan. Just a big announcement. Frank and I are going vegan. But anyways, I got chocolate almond milk. But does it come from chocolate almonds?
No, Mark.
Oh, okay. No. All right. I didn't know.
Goofball. Well, this study done by the U.S. Center for U.S. Dairy found that actually 48%, almost half the respondents, did not know where chocolate milk came from. But then 7% were bold enough to say, yeah, it comes from brown cows. How now, brown cow?
That's funny. And I just also read that 100% of the people who used to wave the little pocket constitutions around when Obama was president have never read it.
Are you serious?
No, I'm joking. 14th Amendment, people.
Was that fake news and you sucked me right in?
Oh, yeah, it was fake news.
I like it. Anyway, I want to end with a quote in honor of Halloween, and it's beautiful, and it's E.E. Cumming. It was a poem. E. Cumming has my birthday, and so does Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, my God, you and Poe the same day? Oh, Rick.
Yeah, and E. Cumming, who I love his. Do you like his poetry?
Yeah, there's no punctuation and stuff.
No, I know you have to hear it between the lines, but the gals that I did the wedding for, Marissa selected this poem to read to her bride, Jamie, and so not this particular poem, but a poem. It's pretty cool, but I don't know. It was a great wedding, by the way. It was vampire themed at a place in Old Town, Fort Collins. It was called Artery, as an art, and the exhibit was all fun.
I was going to say blood and artery. I love that.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then the background, it was a big bat sculpture that I stood in front of, so it looked like it had bat wings, and the girls came up, and everything was Halloween-y because it's their favorite holiday, and it was purple and black, and it was really cool. But here's my poem. I will do my best to read it. I know I can't read it as well as you read your book this week, but I will do my best. It's short. Hist, whist, little ghost things, tiptoe, twinkle toe, little twitchy witches and tingling goblins, hob-a-nob, hob-a-nob, little happy, toad in tweeds, little itchy mousies, With scuttling eyes, rustle and run, and hide, 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 whisk. Look out for the old woman with the wart on her nose. What she'll do to you yet, nobody knows. For she knows the devil. Ouch. The devil. Ouch. The devil. Och. The great. Green dancing devil. 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 Wee. Cummings. Isn't that awesome? I love his work.
I love that. Now, as we say goodbye to everybody Halloween is over. I'm going to cry. Find us at thetwistpodcast.com, and you can sign up for the email list. I've got a new email list. It's both podcasts. You get the Twist and One Thing or Another if you want to sign up there. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Libsyn. We're on Stitcher. And we're on Instagram, of course. Look for Halloween pictures tonight.
Who says 60 is old? Look at you go, girl.
Yeah. The 50s were great. I hope the 60s are, too.
No, you're on it, man. And I love your podcast, by the way, your other podcast. I try not to be envious of it, as you know, but I'm very excited about it.
Well, it's always was really difficult to do interviews, three-way interviews. So, anyways, but thank you. And you're coming on, so just dig it.
Yeah, no, but I do love it. I mean, it was so cool to I love that. Just you, a guest, and a mic. It's just so awesome. I love it.
Okay, everybody, happy Halloween.
All right, guys, happy Halloween. Whee!
Christmas music starts tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, guys.